Once upon a time, in a small village, far from the hustle and bustle of the large cities, the morning bells in the steeple tower rang out very early, earlier than anyone could remember hearing them in the past. Not only were they earlier, but on this day the bells sounded far more merrily than ever before. No one really minded being awakened so early. Everyone in the village knew why Brother John, their bell ringer, was anxious to have the day begin. Everyone knew that Brother John had been invited, at long last, to play the chimes in the local orchestra. And that very afternoon the orchestra was giving a concert in the village square. As for Brother John himself, he went about his morning chores, polishing the bells, completely unaware that he was behaving in a manner different from that of days gone by. He was quite unaware that he passed up his customary cat naps, even without so much as a yawn. This in spite of the fact that the excitement of thinking about joining the orchestra had kept him awake half the night. Humming merrily, he quickly finished his chores, and was the first to arrive at the village square for rehearsal. He seated himself at the chimes and practiced his part. The orchestra members gathered and began to tune up for the concert ahead. Soon the noonday air was filled with the exciting sounds of instruments getting ready to play. Conductor arrived. All was in readiness. Brother John, delighted that his big moment was near, sat straight and tall, ready to join in the rehearsal. The first number to be rehearsed was a fugue. The clarinet made a mistake. The cellos came in too soon. Brother John's enthusiasm began to wane. He had worked so hard on his part. Until this moment he had not minded that the chimes were to sound only at the very end of the fugue. The way the rehearsal was going, the brasses played a wrong chord. Brother John felt completely discouraged. He feared the orchestra would never get to the end of the fugue. His attention wandered to a lonely white cloud that hung in the noonday sky. Poor Brother John! He had fallen asleep at the chimes. His big moment had come and gone. The instruments, hardly believing their ears, stared in amazement. Conductor recovered first and rapped his baton loudly. It was no use. Brother John slept on. What could be done? Brother John must have his chance to play in the orchestra. Each instrument wondered what it might do to waken their sleeping chime player. Timpani spoke up first and said with complete confidence that he could awaken Brother John with the mighty sound of thunder. He crossed the little stage to the place where Brother John was sitting behind his chimes, fast asleep. Starting softly, so that he would not startle Brother John, Timpani played a roll of distant thunder, growing louder and louder, and cymbals joined in with a crash. To everyone's surprise, Brother John slept on. Snare Drum said, "I am sure that the rhythm I play will awaken Brother John. No one can sleep to the exciting sound of 1,000 soldiers marching." Unable to resist the rhythm of a march, the other instruments joined in to create the sound of a marching band. Brother John tapped his foot a little, but to everyone's dismay, he slept on. Little Woodblock whispered into the bell of the trumpet, "Maybe the sound of a cavalry with the rhythm of galloping horses, and the call of the bugle will awaken him." Unable to resist the rhythm of galloping horses and the call of the trumpet, the other instruments joined in. Brother John stirred a little, but to everyone's astonishment, he slept on. Tuba remembered that Brother John liked to dance. Maybe the pa rhythm that he played so well would awaken the sleeping musician. Big Tuba ambled across the stage to where Brother John was sleeping. Unable to resist the rhythm of a waltz, the instruments joined in to create the sound of a jolly village orchestra. Brother John swayed a little, but to everyone's amazement he slept on. They all hoped that the good-natured sound of the trombone slides would awaken Brother John. Trombone slid across the stage to where Brother John was sitting, asleep. Unable to resist the happy-go-lucky sound of trombone, the instruments joined in on the syncopated beat. Brother John smiled a little, but to everyone's consternation, he slept on. "Well," said the round French horn, "this is a very perturbing predicament. Whatever are we going to do? I must give this problem my most serious consideration for a few moments." Unable to resist the mood of the minor key, the instruments joined in. Brother John slept on. The situation seemed hopeless. There was so little rehearsal time left. The instruments knew how proud and pleased Brother John was to have 2 notes to play on the chimes, and how disappointed he would be to miss this opportunity. Over in the percussion section, a special friend of the chimes had listened to all the attempts to waken Brother John. Triangle felt helpless because her sound was so delicate and small, but all else had failed timidly she played her single note. The tiny silvery tone sounded close to Brother John's ear. He opened his eyes, grabbed his mallet, and as if to make up for the time he had lost in sleep, struck up a resounding clangor of ringing bells. Unable to resist the joyful sound, the instruments joined Brother John to create a jubilant chorale.